The dictatorship called for its doom in a snap election. They drafted me to challenge the dictatorship, and I obliged. The people vindicated me in an election shamefully marked by government thuggery and fraud. The opposition swept the elections, garnering a clear majority of the votes, even if they ended up, thanks to a corrupt Commission on Elections, with barely a third of the seats in Parliament. When a subservient Parliament announced my opponent's victory, the people then turned out in the streets, declared themselves against the dictatorship. The people rallied to their protection and proclaimed me the president of all the people. It is on that faith and the obligation it entails that I assumed the presidency. At the end of the day, before another wave of fraud could distort the results, I announced the people's victory as the president of a free people. The task had fallen on my shoulders to continue offering the democratic alternative to our people. Archibald MacLeish had said that democracy must be defended by arms when it is attacked by arms, and by truth when it is attacked by lies. For the nation, Ninoy became the pleasing sacrifice that answered their prayers for freedom. In burying Ninoy, a whole nation honored him by that brave and selfless act of giving honor. A nation in shame recovered its own. A country that had lost faith in its future found it in a faithless and brazen act of murder. So in giving we receive, in losing we find, and out of defeat we snatched our victory. A president turned dictator and traitor to his oath suspended the Constitution and shut down the Congress. He detained my husband along with thousands of others, senators, publishers, and anyone who had spoken up for the democracy as its end drew near. They locked him up in a tiny, nearly airless cell in a military camp in the north. They stripped him naked and held the threat of a sudden midnight execution over his head. Ninoy could have made a separate peace with the dictatorship, as so many of his countrymen had done. But the spirit of democracy that inheres in our race and animates this chamber could not be allowed to die. He held out in the loneliness of his cell and the frustration of exile, the democratic alternative to the insatiable greed and mindless cruelty of the right and the purging holocaust of the left. But his death was my country's resurrection in the courage and faith by which alone they could be free again. As president of all my people, I will not betray the cause of peace by which I came to power. Join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another haven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament of our two nations' commitment to freedom.